Welcome to another episode of What's Up with DJ. I'm DJ, the number one place to find out all things that interest me and hopefully you as well. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, share, and visit the show description to find out more about the What's Up with DJ podcast. And with that being said, let's get right into the show.
You're listening to the What's Up with DJ podcast with your host and personal development coach, David DJ Lloyd Jr. Each week, he brings you current events and trending topics from a spiritual perspective, including career development, finance, holistic living, and life hacks, along with stories that invoke humor and inspiration. So if you're ready, let's join the Podversation. Here's DJ.
So fans want to make Kanye West great again. So after his anti-Semitic remarks that he said last week, there's been a lot of backlash directed towards Kanye West, and rightfully so. I'm just trying to get my mind wrapped around the whole situation as well. And Kanye West is a very complicated figure in pop culture. And he's always in the news about something crazy, it seems. Unfortunately, he's went from having the conversation being centered around his music, which at one point was really great, it being the conversation now is always about something crazy that he said or did. So after receiving so much backlash after his anti-Semitic remarks, he posted a handwritten note via Instagram saying that he was going to be quitting sex, alcohol, and won't talk to anybody for a month. He's going to stop watching X-rated films and not have sex for 30 days. So some kind of verbal fast. I don't know how that's going to solve anything, but I do think it's a good idea for him to stop talking. That doesn't necessarily mean that he is not going to be posting on Instagram and Twitter or whatever places he posts on social media. So, but I think it's a good thing that he is quiet. I don't know if he's doing this because he's trying to squirm his way back into those partnerships that he lost with, and the biggest one being Adidas. And he's trying to get in the good graces of those individuals. But one thing that I feel is that he never expected, I think he expected it to get a lot of media coverage, the whole White Lives Matter t-shirt. And the anti-Semitic comments, I thought that, he was going to, I think he believed he would get lots of attention for that, which he did. But I don't think that he ever expected it to be this intense. And he's offered an apology, well, somewhat an apology.
I didn't realize that I could be considered anti-Semitic till I read one of the definitions of anti-Semitism. And I feel like this is God humbling me right now, because what I want to say is, like, black people are like, okay, Lex Friedman got you to apologize. Pierce Morgan got you to apologize to the Jews, but you never apologized to us about the George Floyd comment that made us feel bad. And I know that police do attack, and America is generally racist. And I understand that when we got to say Black Lives Matter, that the idea of it made us feel good together as a person, as a people. So when I said that, and I questioned the death of George Floyd, it hurt my people. It hurt the black people. So I want to apologize to hurting them, because right now God has shown me by what Adidas is doing and by what the media is doing, I know how it feels to have a knee on my neck now.
As I mentioned last week, he's fallen off of the Forbes billionaire list. He was considered number 2 or number 1 as the wealthiest hip hop artist. And it seemed as though Jay-Z is number 1 or number 2. I can't really understand how they're calculating the numbers. But at one point, I was seeing that Kanye West was at $2 billion, estimated $2 billion. But that Adidas partnership now no longer, it seems though that he's now falling off the list with a $400 million net worth, and Jay-Z is number 1, and Sean Puff Daddy is number 2. So it's these are rich people's problems. Who 2 billion, 400 million, still it's a lot of money that he still has. The interesting thing about this is that one of his fans, I guess they want Kanye West to be a billionaire again, so they created a GoFundMe page for Kanye, and GoFundMe took the page down. Before it was taken down, it had someone, or I don't know how many people, maybe one person had a chance to contribute $5 to that GoFundMe page. So, there are people out there that are in support of him and want to see him do well, and they want to see him as a billionaire. And, that's good that you still have people that support you after you've driven all this negative attention to yourself. But to me, how do I feel about Kanye West? I think he's an interesting figure in pop culture, being that he manipulates the media, and how he sort of does that is interesting to me. But outside of that, his comments and what he thinks, his views, I don't really think much about it, because he's just not somebody that I would want even to have a conversation with, because I don't really think that he's his concern isn't necessarily, is to really feel compassionate about the people that he's supposed to be defending, if he's defending anyone. I think his cause and what it is that he perpetuates is self-promotion, his businesses, his shoes that are now being burned off, it seems, and his businesses to ultimately, make these goals of being a mogul, of being a billionaire, creating a whole bunch of wealth. And I see that he'll say anything and do anything that will jump on any bandwagon that he feels is going to get him to that place where he's going to make that kind of money. And these individuals, I think, like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian and all these type of individuals, understand how to turn attention into dollars. And I think people are very forgiving. As I said last week, that he's already apologizing already to, sort of gain some kind of momentum in the right direction. Are people going to be more willing to be forgiving and say, hey, I forgive Kanye West and I want to go and purchase whatever he's selling? Who knows? Will you do that? Will you go out and purchase some Kanye West things if he decides to go with a different distributor or production, or whoever creates those Yeezys? He goes to someone else like Skechers, or whoever will have him and create. He'll find somebody out there who's willing to create those shoes and make money with him. Are you going to go out there and buy those shoes? Because that's really what makes a determining factor when it comes to these people, creating wealth and creating wealth at that particular level. So the second story that I have is, there is people out there who own the trademark White Lives Matter, and they're the host of the weekly radio show Civic Cipher are the legal owners of the White Lives Matter trademark. Ramses Jah and Quentin Ward was on a recent episode of CNN Tonight, and they explained how they felt about Kanye's White Lives Matter t-shirt.
Ramses, let me start with you. What do you plan to do with this trademark of White Lives Matter?
Well, at present, we plan to do nothing. Nothing is plenty, as you can imagine. We have lawyers advising us on how to best protect the trademark. So it will not be used to hurt, harm, trigger any people. And as long as we are the people in the position to decide how it is used in commerce, we will do our best to minimize the effect that it may have on people.
Just to make it clear, we didn't purchase or pursue the mark. It was actually assigned to us by one of our listeners. Seeing that phrase on a t-shirt, like imagine, I'd like to paint a picture, sitting on your porch and someone walking up to your home with a Confederate flag over one shoulder, a Trump flag over the other shoulder, Make America Great Again hat on, a t-shirt that says White Lives Matter on the front, and that says slavery was a choice on the back. And imagine that person holding a bullhorn and saying through it, George Floyd was not killed by police, but he died from a drug overdose. Imagine how that would make you feel, and then explain to me why I should feel different because the person wearing all of that stuff is a creative genius.
We feel like, in fact, it's well documented that the term White Lives Matter rose up in opposition to the affirmation that Black Lives Matter. It has never been in question whether or not white lives have mattered in this country. It's a given. We know that. Everyone knows that. We felt in our community that we needed to say Black Lives Matter, particularly after the death of Trayvon Martin. And so, again, these other matter terms and phrases have rose up in opposition to that, to weaken the message, to dilute the movement, and to just be contradictory in nature, to give other people talking points in a conversation when the phrase was originally intended to affirm our lives having value. And so, again, being at the helm of something like this, being able to be the decider, feels very important. It's among the heaviest things that we've had to do as radio hosts.
Listening to their comments, I think they seem to have a really balanced outlook about the issue, and they seem somewhat ambivalent about the whole situation. So I don't think they're trying to get into the hoopla, but it was just really interesting that they, sort of inherited the White Lives Matter trademark, and they have it. I don't think that they're looking to make any money off of this or try to promote this in any kind of way. But, who knows in the future how that may change. So as I always try to bring some spiritual aspects into the podcast, because this is a spiritual podcast. And I think that I think a lot of people have heard about the law of attraction, and the law of attraction just states one thing. It states that like attracts like. And whatever you have in your life, your friends, the money in a bank account, it all has been attracted through energetic vibration. And it even goes deeper than that. We are even conceived and born in a vibratory resonance. And let's just call it an aura that we all sort of have. And based on that aura that we have, it attracts things to us, or it actually in the same time repels things from us as well. Friends that we've outgrown, or friends that we have attracted, or experiences that we've attracted or have propelled out of our lives. And we experience happy times and sad times, but ultimately we always come back to our normal vibrational aura, which is basically an accumulation of our thoughts and our emotions and how we interpret our experiences. So what I try to do, and I hope many people try to do, is try to increase that vibratory resonance, ultimately increasing that aura so that we attract better experiences and are able to interpret the things that are happening in our lives in a more positive way. I think sometimes watching the news can bring down that vibration because we see so much negative things in pop culture, in the press, in the news, that even sometimes I have to turn the news off because it's such a negative information flow, a negative flow of information. So what are some of the things that you do to increase your vibration? I listen to music. Sometimes certain songs will raise my vibrations. Sometimes reading something that is inspirational can raise my vibration. Meditation is definitely a great way. Journaling can raise your vibration. So what are some of the things that you do to increase your vibration and make your vibration higher? Because ultimately, by doing that, you are attracting certain things to you. You're attracting experiences that are going to be affecting you. And even if you are attracting negative experiences because you're still working, trying to get that vibration, get that aura higher, you'll find that you do have to interpret things that have happened to you in a what I call reframing, where you are actually looking at past experiences and reframing it instead of as a negative experience. We try to reframe it into a positive experience. So that's the show this week. If you're listening on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and be sure to follow on Apple Podcasts. And, you know, if you're listening, regardless of where you're listening to the podcast, always try to support. Please support the podcast. It helps grow the podcast. It helps to increase the following. So wherever you are, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, like. If you can, comment. If the place you'll listen to, you can comment. It helps grow the What's Up with DJ community. And you can always email a brother by emailing dj@whatsupwithdj.com. You can find me on all social media platforms, well, most of them, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, by just putting in What's Up with DJ podcast. Until next week, check you later. Bye.
That's our show for this week. Thanks for listening. Please join us next week for another episode. You can contact the show by visiting www.podversation.me or emailing DJ at whatsupwithdj.com. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on Apple Podcast. Until next week, take care and be blessed.